I'm so bummed. When I first opened the door, there were deer and the dogs were barking, but I couldn't get my camera fast enough. And now I don't know if you can see them off in the distance. They are very, very camouflagey. Can you kind of see them? Ah. Welcome back to RoamTownGirl's Guide to the State Parks of New Mexico. I haven't gone to all of them, but I've gone to plenty, and I want to share my experiences and impressions of the different ones. So first, let me tell you that I am not one for specific details. So this isn't going to be a video about how many electrical and how many this and that and the details. I'm going to give you the flavor of the experience that I have at the different parks, and if it sounds enticing and inviting, then I hope you'll go and check it out for yourself. So stay tuned all the way till the end, where I'll give you my overall rating of what I thought about Rockhound State Park. I really wanted to do my review at Rockhound, but because of the wind, I was never able to go outside. So Rockhound, the closest town is Deming, which is only 12 miles away, so that's convenient. I was really surprised when I first pulled up because it is tiny. It's this little enclave that's butted up against the mountains, and if there's 30 sites, I'd be surprised. So it's kind of small. And I originally wasn't going to go there because I wanted to go to the state parks that have water. Those of you that have been watching me for a while, you know I love water. A lake, a river, a stream, a brook. I'll even take a creek. Just give me water. So Rockhound does not have water, other than I guess the showers. Oh my God, you guys, there is a bug crawling around on the camera. There are so many bugs here. That's one thing I've noticed about New Mexico. I've seen 2 spiders in my RV, little baby ones, but I've been in my RV for a year and a half. I have not seen spiders. I get here, spiders, and now there's bugs, flying bugs everywhere. All right, I guess I just have to deal with bugs. Bugs bug me. That's why they call them bugs. I had a boyfriend that used to say that. Anyway. So Rockhound is kind of small and tiny, and I had no intention of going there except for I found out that they had a labyrinth, and that just happens to be a passion of mine. Stay through all the way to the end, and I have a wonderful 3-minute meditative, calming, peaceful, inspiring walk that we can do together. So I hope you'll join me for that. So I was drawn there because I had to check out the labyrinth for myself. And I'd only intended to stay there just overnight and then go on my way to another park that would have water. So imagine my surprise when I wound up staying there almost 10 to 12 days. Like, you know, the state parks, you can stay for 2 weeks. I'm doing these state parks mostly in boondocking mode, meaning that I'll go to the primitive sites, or they call them developed sites. And developed sites, they don't have much, if any, amenities, but they have like a little covered patio, maybe a picnic table. Some of them have water. And then if you want electric, it's about $4. It is. It's, I don't know why I made that appear as if there was a choice. If you want electric, it's $4. And if you want a dump site when available, that would be $8. So my plan was to predominantly do primitive and developed sites, so it was free with my state pass that I bought, which I'm making this video in 2019. It cost me $225 as a non-New Mexico resident. And every once in a while, I figured I'd get some power for $4, and if I really needed to treat myself to a full site, it's $8. And most campgrounds, not all, will have a dump station available for free. So that was the plan. I've run into it being much hotter than expected, and I seem to be doling out a lot of $4 nights to have power, but that's another story. Main point was I was only going to stay overnight, but since I do boondocking, I've learned that for me and my usages and what I have on board, I can go about 12 days. After 12 days, the tanks are full, the fresh water's gone. If it's been cold, I'm running low on propane. And so my longest stretch is about 12 days. So I stayed there like 10 days because, like a lot of other people I met there is an unusual energetic of that place. Maybe it's the Labyrinth, who knows? So I met many other RVers who had similar plans. Just gonna roll in, stay overnight. It's a good little stopover onto your way to City of Rocks or on your way to the Truth or Consequences area. And then people wind up staying for a week or two because there's just something about the place. Now when you go, there probably won't be the same camp hosts, but I've got to tell you, the ones I encountered there were amazing. They did such a phenomenal job of meeting everybody, knowing what their sort of plans were. It got really hot there, so I needed an electrical site, and they came to me and they're like, John in Site 12 is going to be leaving tomorrow. Go make friends with him. He already is expecting you. Coordinate, so you can take his spot. It was like a whole dominoes thing. I mean, when do you get that kind of support? In fact, the first night that it got really hot, I lasted all day and then I just couldn't bear it. And I went to the campground host and they let me stay in the handicap spot because it was after 6. And they said, you can have it and you need to get out in the morning. And then the next day it was hot again and there was no available electrical sites. So they put me in the group home, which I'm calling, they had a group camping area that had electric. So they put me in there. I mean, they couldn't have been more accommodating. They actually, even before you get into the park, there's a couple of turnouts in the road, so you can kind of pull over and boondock and wait for a space to open. Let me tell you why at one point there were a whole lot of people parked down the road. So I've mentioned more than once the wind here in New Mexico. I'm here in April, May right now, and when I was at Rockhound, one of the days we had 70-mile-an-hour winds and nobody moved, nobody left. We all just hunkered down in place. It was wild. I, of course, actually enjoyed it. I wasn't afraid and I wasn't traveling, so it didn't really change my plans, but it was crazy. So we had a whole lot of people stay and they were just all the way down the road parked, waiting. So they've got the Labyrinth there, which is right by the visitor center. The visitor center is adorable and has some really cool exhibits in there. I tried to film one of them, but it was so echoey and the sun it didn't work. But there was this whole thing about a natural medicine cabinet and the different plants and how you could use them. So here, cliffhanger. Go to the Rockhound State Park and go to their visitor center and look at that exhibit because it was so interesting. Oh, there was something else I was going to. Oh, Rockhound. Why is it called Rockhound? Do you know what a Rockhound is? I didn't know what a Rockhound is. Clearly, because I'm not a Rockhound. A Rockhound is somebody who likes to collect rocks. And, in general, when you go state parks and national parks and pretty much anywhere, you're not supposed to take anything with you. But Rockhound has a lot of gemstones and rocks. I don't know if it's gemstones, I might be making that up, but they have a lot of rocks. And if you're into that kind of thing, people go and they hike off into the mountains and you are welcome to take the rocks home with you. There's a limit. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put it on the screen what the limit is. But so it's really fun for people who are into that kind of thing. You can go, you can hunt for rocks, and then you can actually take some home with you. So that's why it's called Rockhound. You need that little rainbow. Now you know. When it comes to picking a spot, my particular preference is I like to camp alone with others. And what I mean by that is I like to set myself up so that the views out as many of my windows as possible is as if I have no neighbors and I'm camping by myself. So generally I can get like one side of the RV, and I usually try to do that on the desk side where I work so I can look out the window and have this beautiful unencumbered view and feel like I am camping alone. And then if I look out the other side of the window, you know, across the way, then I see all the RVs and all the people, which makes me feel greatly comforted, because if anything goes wrong, then I know there are people who can come and help me. So Rockhound definitely had that available to me. I was able to camp in a couple sites where it felt so private, even though there were lots of people around me. The views are really pretty, a lot of rocks and cliffs and plants and trees, and so that it's very pretty. And like I said, I think the biggest attraction there is that there's just something about the place. It just feels really nice to be there, and people come and they're not in such a big hurry to leave. I really liked Rockhound, and I would absolutely go back there again. And I think the other little tidbit I might tell you that I learned just for your own planning is apparently they are in a valley, and therefore they are about 5 degrees hotter than Deming. So if you're watching the weather and you're going there, check out the Deming and then add 5 degrees, and that's what you're going to be dealing with at Rockhound. Let me also mention something that I thought was really wonderful about the town of Deming. Apparently there are like 5 people there. I don't know what the population is, but when I move from camp to camp, I kind of do all my errands in one day. So the town of Deming was so convenient. They had a laundromat. It was me and 2 other people. I got my oil changed at Thunder Lube. They were awesome. I rolled up first thing in the morning and they took care of me, no problem. Griffin Propane is right there in town. Easy breezy pull up and fill up. And the best gas prices is the gas station right across the way from Griffin Propane. They've got a McDonald's, and McDonald's, God bless their internet. When I don't get good internet with my hotspot, I can roll up in their parking lot and get some fries and a nice tea and just sit there and upload stuff. And of course, good old Wally World. Love me a Walmart, because I can stock up on all the things I need before I head on off to the next place. So I really like the town of Deming. Quiet, convenient, had all the basic places I needed. Oh, and Irma's for Mexican food was delicious. So on a scoring system of 1 to 10, I give Rockhound an 8. And that's because I really liked it. But let's face it, they didn't have water. So I hope you enjoyed this series, and check out my other videos on another state park that I visited. Of course, if this is the first one, there isn't one yet, but stay tuned, they're coming. Oh, and before you go, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, ask me in a comment below. And if you want to see more of my videos, especially the other ones about New Mexico, be sure to subscribe. And if you hit that bell notification, then you'll know exactly the next time I post another video. Wherever you are today and whatever you're doing, I hope you remember to have some fun, make some memories, and if you wouldn't mind, tell at least one other person to come check out RoamTownGirl on YouTube.